Hi, it is Deb with Doula After Dark, and today's episode is all about why am I so resentful to my partner after having my baby, and what can you do about it? So, first of all, um, this is a super duper common feeling after you have a baby. You're not alone. You can absolutely love your partner and resent your partner. And it doesn't mean that your relationship is over, broken. It just means we need to do a little readjusting and talking. So, here is something to think about. If you've ever looked at your partner sleeping peacefully while you're covered in spit up and have fed the baby for the last 20 minutes and thought, I love you, but I also want to throw a pillow at you. Congratulations, this is normal. If that feels like you, this is the perfect episode. So, first of all, what resentment actually is. Usually it means that there's some exhaustion, there is emotional um, hormones and feelings that are going on. Um, there's usually some unequal rest happening, um, unequal mental load happening. Um, Unequal body sacrifice. So who is feeding? Who is changing the baby most of the time? And then there is also the um, invisible labor portion, where generally the birthing parent is the one thinking of all the things that needs to happen, and that emotional aspect can take up a lot of energy as well. So, uh, why does this hit so hard after the baby's born? First of all, it's a big divide. Like I was talking about a minute ago, uh, the birthing parent has grown a baby, given birth to a baby, is healing, is probably bleeding, potentially is leaking milk, is completely touched out, is up every 2 to 3 hours at the minimum. Sometimes it's even more than that. And the other parent, the non-birthing parent, is probably tired, is probably overwhelmed, but their body still belongs to them, and they are probably not doing as much of the emotional labor that the birthing parent is. Okay. One of the big things that is the kind of relationship divider is the unequal sleep. Who is getting more sleep right now? Especially if it is a huge divide. Is one parent sleeping through the night while one parent is getting up every couple hours to help the baby? When one parent sleeps more, your brain tends to read it as danger and injustice. So, what can we do? Where can we start to think and hopefully adjust? So, what can help? Um, Maybe the non-birthing parent can track the feeds, keep track of diaper changes, do diaper changes, make appointments, look up what the wake windows are, look up what's normal for the newborn, um, help with laundry, get out the wipes, put the diapers away, organize the clothes, do more of the remembering of everything that needs to happen. When one parent is doing the entire family operating system, then we have some disagreements for sure. Okay. So, some things that you tend to think during this time, uh, they don't care as much as I do. If they loved me, they would notice. I shouldn't have to ask. They get their life and I lost mine. These stories definitely, absolutely 100% feel true, especially when you're exhausted. But here is what is happening. They can be incomplete or maybe a little inaccurate. Maybe. Not because you're wrong in these feelings, absolutely. But nobody's taught parents how to rebalance the work and labor involved after the baby. And we expect the non-birthing parent to have the instincts that the birthing parent has. And many, many times that is not the case. And then what happens is birthing parent, we don't say anything. And the resentment grows. Most parents stay silent because they don't want to seem ungrateful. They don't want to fight. They assume it will get better on its own. They're just too tired to explain the feelings and what someone else can do to help. So the resentment turns into something a little bit different. Could look a little bit like some postpartum anxiety or postpartum depression. We tend to snap at our partners a little bit more. We tend to be angry about things that normally we would not be angry about. Or we completely withdraw from our partners. So, how can we start to reduce the resentment without completely blowing up? Saying things like, you never help, isn't necessarily going to help. We need to be a little more specific in our asks. I need some more rest. I need help with laundry. I need support during feedings. I need to take a shower without worrying about the baby. I need to feel like my body belongs to me sometimes. And sometimes that's what we have to do in the shower, or um, if we can get out for a few minutes, those types of things. Number two is we need to make the invisible visible. So when we talk about emotional labor, the planning the dinner menu, the planning the grocery shopping, um, knowing when we're out of baby wipes, when we're out of diapers, potentially if we need formula, if pump parts need to be cleaned, um, if pediatrician appointments need to be made, if we need more sleep sacks than we thought we needed, and those need to be ordered, all those kinds of things, the emotional labor side, um, should be discussed. We need to talk about all those things that we do that people might not necessarily see us doing and bring those to light. So, saying things like, I don't need you to help me. I need you to own something is going to make a big difference. Because a lot of times we hear, just tell me what to do. I am happy to help. But helping doesn't remove the emotional labor. What we need is someone to take ownership of some things off of our plate. And that means that we have to sometimes allow that ownership to get taken off of our plate. Now, I'm not talking about people that completely load, I'm not talking about people that completely load the dishwasher wrong on purpose so that they don't have to do it again. I'm talking about letting people do things their own way. Maybe it's not the perfect way. Maybe it takes longer. Maybe it wouldn't be what you want. But if the dishes come out of the dishwasher clean, even though they weren't stacked well in there, if the baby's laundry comes out clean, even though it wasn't folded in a manner that you would like to see it folded, even when you hand the baby to your partner and the baby starts to cry and they can't immediately soothe the baby, even though you can, we need to give our partner a chance to learn how to do those things. I see so many times as a postpartum doula when the birthing parent says, my partner can't calm the baby, so then I have to do it. And here's the truth about babies. We're all different. How you may soothe your baby is going to look different than how I soothe your baby as a postpartum doula. And your partner will have another completely different way to soothe the baby. And sometimes we just have to give them the opportunity to be able to try it and do it and learn how. Because they can't be you. They can't hold the baby just like you hold the baby. They can't smell like you. They can't be you. So they have to do it their own way. That's the same with being a postpartum doula. Although, because I've done this so long, I can come in and soothe babies a little bit quicker, but I still have to learn what each and every baby wants to be able to soothe them. So, other things that could happen. Your partner can take care of bedtime for your older baby or your older child, your older child. Your partner can take care of bedtime and the bedtime routine for an older child. Again, they can learn how to do that and how it works, even if that older child, that 2-year-old, at first says they want you. Okay? It's okay. Um, you can say, I need you to handle the pediatrician stuff, um, which can include taking the baby to the pediatrician, or at the minimum, making all those pediatrician appointments and making lists of questions and different things you need to ask and finding out what happens when are, vaccines scheduled, when is this, when is that, what's going on. That can be a partner's job. Um, you can say, I need my morning back. So you may need an hour to have a cup of coffee in peace, um, eat some food that you want, rest, so you can take some of that time back and your partner can come up with ways to work with the baby and do the things that need done, even with the baby. So we need to kind of rebalance and not keep score because 50-50 isn't real. There are going to be days that one parent does a lot more than the other parent, but what should happen then in return is the other parent does a lot more than you on some days. So some days it may look 50-50, but on other days it could look 75-25, but then it's going to get flipped and be 25-75 on another day. It doesn't have to always be the same. The goal is that, yes, you're both going to be tired in the first month of a new baby, but one person is not completely and physically and emotionally exhausted while the other parent is functioning. We need a little bit of balance. Then we're going to work on repairing little small things, saying, yes, I love you. I am not angry at you. I am exhausted and overwhelmed. Saying, I need more support tonight, overnight. Maybe your partner can take on one or two of the feeds so that you can get a longer stretch of rest based on how you're feeding the baby. The big message here, um, resentment is normal. Almost everyone feels it. It doesn't mean that you messed up. It doesn't mean that your partner messed up. Doesn't mean that maybe you shouldn't have had a baby. Doesn't mean that you picked the wrong partner. Just means that everybody needs to work on rebalancing what life looks like with this new person, the new baby. Most couples don't fall out of love after the new baby. They fall out of balance, and balance can be rebuilt. So, here are a couple little reflections for you. What am I actually needing right now? What am I carrying too much of alone? Think of those things, jot them down, and this is where you can start having those conversations. Again, you're normal. You're doing an amazing job. This is a challenging season, and things will get better. Again, it's Deb with Birth Before and After. I help you with sleep and getting that balance back. And I wish you the best.